My name is Claire, but my friends call me Tartar. Don't ask me why. Ever since I learned about this content, my life has taken a new direction. It has given me the courage to share my story with the people around me. 3 weeks ago, I told my mother, father, and younger brother what happened. A week ago, I shared it with my husband and the rest of the family. I received a lot of looks, but overall, they all seemed supportive. Sometimes I find myself questioning whether they really believe me or if they attribute everything to postpartum depression, which might just be something created by my mind. I don't know if that's the case, but it's liberating to take this weight off my chest. As I type this, I'm thinking about how to explain it to those who have never experienced death or even glimpsed the other side. So I'll start from the beginning and move forward. In January 2021, I found out I was pregnant with our fourth child. From the moment of conception, something felt different. 2 months later, I was diagnosed with placenta previa. For all the men watching, this occurs when the placenta forms near the opening of the uterus, increasing the risk of miscarriage and other complications. Anyway, placenta previa was the least of our problems, as we underwent an amniocentesis to identify potential issues the baby might have, and we did not receive the best news. We were informed there was a high probability that the baby had Down syndrome. The thought of having a child with special needs at 40 terrified me. Some of my first thoughts included what would happen to him or her after my death and who would take care of that child. Naturally, the question of abortion came up, although my husband and I immediately dismissed that possibility due to our faith. I was put on bed rest and instructed to avoid any strenuous activity. By around the 7th month, I felt a rush and shouted for my mother to call an ambulance. To keep things somewhat calmer, what I thought was my amniotic fluid was actually bleeding caused by a hemorrhage. I was quickly taken to the hospital and immediately prepared for an emergency cesarean section. I returned to the operating room, and from that moment on, I lost all consciousness. The strange thing about dying and death itself is the experience of witnessing it unfold. I followed my body to the operating room where the doctor murmured a few urgent words and said, "We're losing her. Open her up. We need to get the baby out. The mother's life can be discussed later." I watched as they cut me open to take out my premature child, and I remember hearing the doctor say he didn't know if the baby would survive and that resuscitation efforts needed to start on me while they were stitching up my cesarean section. A nurse was performing chest compressions on me while another was giving me oxygen. I witnessed all of this in total astonishment. The last thing I remember the doctor mentioning was that they needed to shock me. At that moment, I was pulled up at a speed that felt like soaring from a cliff to the sky. Do you remember how fast it feels to fall in a dream? Well, that was the speed, but going upwards. I began to rise faster until suddenly I stopped. "Welcome, Claire. We've been waiting for you," I heard a voice in my mind. Looking around, my eyes began to clear and I realized where I was, in a stunning city like crystal, one that no fairy tale could ever match. I heard the voice again. "Welcome home, Claire. We've been waiting for you." I looked around until I found the source of the voice. The man I saw wasn't the most handsome, but he certainly wasn't unpleasant either. He had brown hair, brown eyes, and the most beautiful smile I had ever seen. His skin had an olive tone like a surfer's tan. His robe and the golden belt around his waist left me completely mesmerized. "You were waiting for me?" I asked. "Yes," the man replied. "Why me, Claire? You completed your mission. It's time to go home," the voice gently stated. No, it's not that Jesus was a completely different being. Or maybe I wasn't as connected to religion as I thought. Lord, I apologize for not recognizing who you truly are. Please forgive my ignorance. He reassured me that there was no need for me to plead for forgiveness, and then revealed what awaited me when I returned. As he spoke, he gestured towards what appeared to be the home that your father had prepared for me. As he showed me, it became increasingly difficult for me to want to return. Jesus noticed my hesitation and gently reassured me that I didn't need to return. However, I knew it was necessary. Before being sent back, I was shown a future that might or might not come to pass. I want people to understand that nothing is irrevocable. In 2042, a massive earthquake will not only divide the western United States, but also much of Asia. Parts of California will be swallowed by the sea, and Japan and Korea will completely disappear. This will lead to a series of minor conflicts that will eventually consolidate into a world war around 2048. As in all wars, everything will be fought over resources. The war will culminate in 2053, but not before the three greatest powers, Russia, China, and the United States, reach the brink of imminent nuclear war. It is time for you to go back, Jesus said. I'm ready. I woke up hearing the doctor insist on hitting her again. I remember screaming and then fainting again, a cesarean with 3 fractured ribs due to the heart massage. During recovery, I kept asking the nurses how long I had been dead. They always wore a distant look and quickly changed the subject. Over time, I gave up asking about it because I knew I would never get a clear answer from them. I recognize that all of this may sound a bit surreal, but what I experienced was authentic. I don't know how many minutes or even seconds I was dead, but I know that. I can't ignore the urgency to return. I had gone through a moment of intense revelation and needed to ensure that my baby would be okay. The place provided me with serenity, happiness, and a complete absence of pain, but my heart was with my children. Deep down, I was aware that they truly needed me, and nothing would stop me from coming back. "Why do you long to return so much?" the man asked, appearing perplexed by my choice not to stay. "I need to be with my babies. They need me. Please let me go back," I pleaded. "You have all your loved ones around you. Are you willing to give that all up?" he asked. "I am," I replied, and he smiled as he revealed that I was the first soul to plead for return instead of to stay. After reflecting for a time, he declared, "Your body is not yet ready for your return. If you return now, your body won't withstand it, and you won't be able to come back. Walk with me," he said, extending his hand. I took his hand, and we began walking together. The love that radiated from his touch made me reconsider my decision. As we strolled through the streets of the Crystal City, I began to see my life unfolding before me. I had heard many near-death stories that described this as a life review, but mine turned out to be different. Instead of a screen or a display device, I saw what I'll call soul images. I witnessed my birth and my departure from God, realizing I had been brought into existence and begged him to send me to earth, where my chosen parents would be. The less significant moments faded away, but I saw my wedding and the birth of our children, and then I visualized my death again on the operating table. I don't know if it's due to the purity of the soul in that place, but at the end of the life review, I saw myself embracing that man, and in tears, he calmed me, saying, "It's all right." He held me as he explained that this happens to everyone when they revisit their lives from my father's perspective. "Of course," I murmured. I didn't realize that I was with Jesus. Perhaps it was just my biases. I was home and made the decision to return for the sake of my children. As I mentioned at the beginning, sharing this with my family resulted in many strange looks. However, no one was rude to me about this experience. Oh, and before I forget, yes, my son survived. He shows no signs of Down syndrome or any other issues from being born nearly 2 months early. God is amazing all the time, even when we don't ask for it. Take care, and thank you for reading this. I appreciate you, Claire, for sharing your experience. I'm glad your baby also came through without health problems. I want to emphasize that this is not the first time I've read about a near-death experience related to a potential world war, but it's the first that addresses an earthquake that could practically swallow the islands of Japan and both North and South Korea. I can only imagine that land displacement is the cause of these minor wars and the eventual world war. In the end, I would like to thank you for your prayers. They truly mean a lot to me. This concludes my experience today. Do you believe we are approaching a new world war? Do you think an earthquake could be powerful enough to submerge parts of California, just like Japan and the Korean Peninsula? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, stay safe and be blessed.